Cool. So we'll just give it a moment before we start, but yeah, so we're going to work in upper body. So 2 blocks, a strap if you're watching the recording of this, any playlist goes, any sounds that you want for your background noise is all good. And we are going to start in a moment, just waiting for I was about to say our other contestant, not quite contestant, is it? We're going to start with 1 block between the shoulders, and we're going to lay down onto it. And the other block might be used under the back of the head. But the reason you want a block for this, ideally on a thinner kind of level, is because we really want to be elevating, because the beginning of this practice, as I've said, is going to be all about opening up across the chest, mobilizing the shoulders and excavating the tightness and stiffness that's happening in the neck and shoulders right now. Because I know if anyone's even like 50% the amount of tightness as I am in that space, then it's pretty gnarly to have that resistance in the body. And so lay over the block. Move your massive pint of water out the way. Oh, pouring some of it onto you as you go. Amazing. And as you lay back, let the back of the head rest to the floor. Let the palms face up as the hands stretch above the head. Now you can choose. I automatically put the soles of my feet together, but actually you don't need to open up in the hips in this first bit. Not that it takes away from your shoulders, but you can just focus the attention and the energy all on that upper body, all on that space, the shoulder girdle and the front and the back of the body. Trying to rest really heavy here, back down into the block. And hopefully what you'll also feel at the same time as getting this opening across the front of the chest is this massage sensation. So where the block's actually pressing in. Now it might feel quite intense. It might feel like you've gone from nothing to 100 on the massage pressure front. But really we're just trying to create as much release as we possibly can in this space, the upper body. And so we'll just encourage the body to get heavier. The back of the head to be heavy. To notice if there's strain in the neck, that you might need to just place a hand or even a light thin blanket rolled over or just underneath the back of the head here, just to create a bit of elevation in the skull. Yeah, because of the neck, if the head is kind of coming back quite far, chin jutting up to the sky, this in itself can put a bit of compression and compound the stress tension that might already be there. Every breath that you take here in the opening is an opportunity just to soften and just to relax, to let go and unwind, uncoil some of that holding just a little bit more. The weather and also the collective energy of this time of year creates more tension in the upper body. And I was saying the other night in practice that my body feels like it's the tightest it's been in a long time, literally just in the last few weeks, noticing that resistance. And I think everyone agreed on the Zoom at the time that they were feeling the same. So we're just going to work into these spaces a little bit deeper over the next week, using the block and massage techniques and things that we can help to resolve kind of the extra layers of the tension, trying to dissolve the holding and the gripping. Taking 3 more lovely big breaths here, stretching out the inhale, stretching out the exhale, allowing yourself to really feel the space and time that you have here. And then gently just bend the knees enough so you can use your feet to press into the ground a little bit, to anchor you in, to lift you up and off the block. Move the block out to the side, come and lay back down, and let the arms come out still by your side, palms face up, shoulders move down away from your ears. And just feel the sensation. It's like that yin effect, that release of the pressure that we've just had there. And then taking your block, and we're going to use it in the occipital point of the skull, so that place where the neck meets the skull. Okay, so you can even, first of all, it's nice to actually get the thumbs or the fingers just to go along that ridge, so right at the base of the skull, just a little bit of pressure, little tiny pressure, or like kind of semi-firm pressure in this place, just to feel it, just to notice it. For me, as soon as I start to press along that occipital ridge, I start to feel instantly like there's intensity and also relief coming. Yeah, this is the place to press if we get those headaches, awful kind of feeling of stress, tension, headache, can help to release the fascia that stretches across the scalp, the top of the head. Okay, so bringing the block now to do that job for us. So hair out the way, and try and get the block on one of its edges, so one of its long edges, to press into the occipital ridge. So it will feel like the head's quite lifted when you do this, and you'll have to keep your hands on the block because it's very likely that then, you know, the block is actually balancing the floor part of the block, the bit that's on the floor is balancing right on an edge as well. And then we're gently going to just turn the head from left to right. So you will feel an intense pressure when you move the head, likely to the left and to the right hand side. And so what are the key is here when you're taking occipital relief is to not tense the face, the jaw, and to definitely not push into a place where any part of you contracts as a reaction to the sensation, because it is big. It can be really intense. You know, some people, you might not be able to even turn your head all the way. You might need to just move your head gently so you can turn to one side and then just massage in that part of the skull. It's not actually on the neck itself, it's just at that ridge point, so right on the skull. This is what gives it such a kind of pleasure pain threshold we're on here. You've got that feeling of it being very intense, almost maybe too much. And you might get to some places where you actually can't put the pressure, but the weight of the head is doing the work. You aren't having to push back. All you're doing is relaxing the head back, and the block is perfectly poised, ready to do some releasing. So this is the insertion point of the traps as well. So we think about the shoulders, we think about what we're holding there. There's also going to reflect in how much tension there is in this space. And we are just feeling our way through here for a couple more breaths. If you've done one side, make sure you do the other as well, level it out. And again, it will have that same feeling when you release the block. It'll have that same feeling as we just did in the shoulders. Okay, so that real opening, that real stretch. And slowly begin to release the block from the head to the back of the head to the floor. Pause here for a moment. Okay. Take your right arm, you're going to wrap it back behind you, slide it underneath the back body, right hand over towards the left side of the mat, and then you can use your left hand to maybe just pull on the fingers a little bit to really wriggle it across. We'll just stay with this side first of all, straightening out the legs. You can use your left fingers here to gently start to come up to the chest tissue. So just kind of get to the shoulder where you feel the bony prominence at the top of the shoulder, and come in a few inches to where you feel the pectoral, the chest tissue. You can start to press and massage in here. You can start to move the head maybe over to the left a little bit, feeling a bit of stretch, and the tendon across, or down rather, the front of the top arm into the elbow joint, maybe down into the forearm. Maybe your fingers even want to press into the trap on the right side so we can get into the meaty part of the upper shoulder on the right hand side. Pressing fingers in here, feeling around for where there is a lot of tension, where there is some tension. And gently releasing the right hand from underneath you. Take your time. With the right arm all the way out, palm faces up. Bend the knees, slide the left arm underneath the back body, palm face down. Again, as you wriggle it across, you can again use the right hand to gently pull it across a little bit more if that feels good, just to secure the arm there. Lengthen out the legs. The weight of your body and gravity does the work here of pressing you down, pushing you towards the earth. And this left side of the chest, we can start to work and maneuver our way into the tissue here. So we're working everything this morning in the upper body in terms of not just stretching and not just yin poses, but also actual massage pressure. You know, we need all of it to have mobility. We can't just have flexibility. Yoga's great, but if we're not getting massages to break down the tissue, to break down the knots, to break down where the body has clamped and held on to lactic acid and held on to toxins and residue, then we're not going to release the stuff that might give us headaches, aches and pains, create postural misalignment. And this might have a knock-on effect to all parts of our body. It's not just the shoulders that will be affected by shoulder tension. It could be the pelvis, could be the lower back, could be the knees. It's amazing the things we adapt to as well in our bodies, just because we kind of assume that's what our body is doing now. It's what just our body is taking shape of. And really gently releasing arm from underneath. We're going to roll straight over onto our hands and knees, so coming up and over. Actually, come to sit back onto your heels for a moment. Just let the shoulders take a moment in this upright position, so you can shrug the shoulders up, back and down. So what I said at the beginning was that everything that we're doing here is building into more space across the front of the body, so that when we come into flow, this part of the body already feels open, feels free. So we're going to break it down over the next week, different places, working in depth. Both your blocks on the highest setting, and you're going to come forwards with your shoulders and rest your shoulders onto the blocks, so the head can just hang really heavy. Now, if this isn't quite high enough, because for me, I can feel myself able to have a bit more, I could have a bit more space. You could either put another block underneath each block, but on the lower setting, books, or you can, of course, if there isn't another surface, because there isn't really for me in here, if there isn't another surface for you to put the blocks on, you're still going to get heavy to the best of your ability through the head. You know, you might just let the head rest on the floor. Really trying to get those blocks to push the shoulders so the neck is lengthening here. So your relaxation onto the blocks, lean forward slightly as well. So we're trying to get that real stretch through the neck. So what will probably happen is you'll lean on the blocks and then your bum will try and sit back to the heels, because that's where it's a bit more comfortable. Try and push your weight forwards. Try and have the weight to the front edge of the blocks. Your hands can be there to help support. You're also getting the massage in the front part of your shoulder girdle as well. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. Slowly lift up, peel back. bum towards heels. Flip the blocks onto the lowest setting to start off with. Anahatasana, puppy dog pose, with a raised level. Okay, so forearms, wrists, hands are coming over the top edge of the blocks. Forearms are on the blocks. I'm going to let the hips sit on top of the knees, and I'm going to still draw the chest down towards the floor, hands forward. Except what we're adding in here is this elevation, which creates a bit more of a downward pressure through the heart space. Try not to have the chin on the floor for this one if you can avoid it. Just try not to create more compression through the neck. If your blocks are slipping away, you can always put the hands on them, but just be mindful of the elbow joints. This is why I prefer it to be on the forearm, because I think the more pressure goes through the elbow joint if we've got the hands gripping the block. We just want to be mindful of that as well. The thing with practice is in yoga, we always want to make sure that we're not doing something in one area that makes that space, that specific space, feel really good, but actually hinders the ability for spaciousness elsewhere. If it feels good here, then stay. If you feel like you have a little bit more room to give, gently slide back and flip the blocks onto the slightly higher level, the middle level. Okay, and just let the head drop. You can, of course, keep increasing the level. In a moment, we might do it again for a higher level if you want to just feel what that's like. Again, let the head, let the heart be really heavy. Think about the chest becoming heavier, even though I know the head on the floor feels like that's where all the weight is going. You can still create that sensation of heaviness through the chest. Allow the body to breathe a little deeper. It's all right. Excuse me. Father-in-law just came into the house, thought we were getting burgled. Slowly slide back. Flip the blocks onto the slightly higher level if you want to. You don't have to be here for that long, but it might be worth just feeling into the sensation. So feeling into what it's like. So you can either have the hands or forearms, and it's a bit more of a tentative movement towards it. The head will be away from the floor most likely here. And just let the head, heart drop. And it feels so good, but it probably doesn't feel like somewhere that you can hang out for ages because of the balance factor. Let there be more breath, let there be more relaxation. And slowly from here, you're going to gently come off the blocks. Slide to sit back onto the heels. Let the blocks just stay where they are. Let the palms face up, let the shoulders be relaxed, and let the eyes just close for a moment as you feel the sensation, the returning of blood flow back to the arms, the shoulders, the upper back, the neck. And maybe take a few shoulder rolls up, back, down and round. And just notice here. Notice what you're feeling. From this space, we're going to come onto our belly, so we're going to come onto our front. I'm going to stay noticing what we're feeling. Last thing before we move into flow. Okay, so the hips will start to get open in a moment as well. And then from here, left arm's coming out to the side. We're coming into broken wing. So we're going to straighten out the arm as much as possible. Right hand next to chest. Press into the right hand, roll it over. Use a block underneath the side of the head, but ideally on the lowest setting if possible. This is mainly so that the neck doesn't get compounded on the left side as the head rests on the floor. And equally, on intense stretch on the right side. Now, of course, you've got big opening in the shoulders now. Body feels very different in that space than it did when we first started. So maybe you want to wrap the right arm behind and feel that space, feel that shoulder opening on both left and right. The aim here is to just try and be in sensation, not past it. And you don't have to go for more. You can just be at sensation and breathe. It is heavy. And then slowly from here, we're going to roll onto the front. Take your time, moving block out the way. Use the forearm to support the forehead. Feel the stretch through the left arm. Bring the left arm in. Change sides. So right arm comes out to the side, same thing. Bend the left knee, roll over. Same thing, but it might not feel exactly the same as you press into the left hand, opening up through the right shoulder, left arm wraps up and around. And I often find when we're really specific like this in the body, opening up the space, even if there are imbalances, and you might still be able to feel them to some smaller degree, but actually lots of the time when we do this, because we're so specifically focused in one space, actually imbalances seem to dissipate somewhat, because everywhere is getting that deep tissue release. And even if one side is slightly tighter, more resistant to opening and softening, because it's had the pressure of the block, it's had the massage, it's had the stretch, so the different positions, different angles worked into, actually it ends up being quite open and pretty much feels the same as the other side. And slowly from here, take your time. You're going to roll back onto the belly. Pause for a moment. Side of the head to the mat, both arms down by your side. And then from here, start to work into downward facing dog, hands next to the chest, press up and back, finding downward facing dog and experiencing for the first time today that feeling of openness through the shoulders in a pose that usually there isn't maybe quite as much space in when we first get to. Think about not trying to push the chest back so far as you usually would, because usually we're pushing against a lot more resistance. The shoulders are open now, they have space. Okay, so they're ready to be in this shape. Now push the floor away, feel the strength through the arms. Take a deep breath in. Exhale to really heavily relax the heels towards the floor so you can feel the sensation there. Just observe and be with the sensation in your shoulders through this flowing part of practice. Notice how differently they move, how differently they hold you, and what the experience is for you from here. Inhale, ripple forwards, finding plank. Exhale, chaturanga, knees, chest, chin, whatever feels best for you. Come to the earth. Inhale to find a back bend that feels good, that suits you. Think about the length of the neck as well. When you have the shoulders on the blocks, the head dangling between them. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg, inhale, reach it up. Bend the right knee, spin the hip open. Feel that lovely stretch through the right side body. Choices here to stay or drop the right foot over, wild thing. Stretch through the right arm, the right shoulder pushing up to the sky, the right hip elevates. Notice how as you've unlocked one part of the body, the rest of the body kind of follows. Slowly spin it back out, low lunge, right foot's going to step in between the hands. And you could bring your strap in here, but you might not need to as you rise all the way up. For low lunge, maybe you find clasped hands, maybe you find your Kali Mudra, maybe you find another thing with the arms that feels really good on the spaciousness. For me here, it's all about trying to pull armpits forwards. It's like my back shoulders are trying to move back. And then my head, my ears follow, so that my head isn't pushing forwards. And create that curvature in the spine coming from the shoulder girdle, not from the lower back. And notice how different that feels. Slowly come forwards. You can choose here. You could clasp the hands behind you, push the knuckles away. That feels good. Or fold as you would usually. If you're here for a bit more of a balance, and clasp the hands, push the knuckles, feel the difference here. Option is to bring the hands down. Still feeling spacious there. Bend the right knee, turn the right toes out. Back knee stays down for a moment as you inhale, spiral the chest to the right hand to the sky. As you exhale, your right elbow, it's like it's going to draw a straight line all the way from the sky, down the inline of your right calf, all the way to the floor. Inhale, sweep the right arm up, open. Exhale, down the calf. Inhale. And exhale. One more, maybe you catch that back foot here. Maybe that feels good. Okay, if it's not in your reach, don't worry, but think about moving the shoulders first. Move the shoulders first to create the space and the reach back, and then the heel curls towards the bum. Deepen inhale, deepen exhale. Release the back foot down, tuck the back toes under, lift the left knee, and then shift the hips back in space. Use the blocks underneath your hands here for more support as you find your pyramid pose. Right toes up off the floor, so you're just balancing on the heel, or right toes down. Yogi's choice here. Lengthen spine, pull right hip back, left hip forwards and down. Feel the stretch, feel the space here. Inhale, flip the left heel in. You need the blocks where they are, bring them with you. Depends on what you're feeling like you need support-wise. Skandasana, back of mat. Left elbow to inside of knee, right hand to the sky. Big opening through the chest, through the shoulder. Maybe you take a bind, half bind or full bind, your choice. Drop the hips low, feel the heaviness of the pelvis as you balance here. Nice. And then from here, we're going to walk all the way back around to the inside of that right foot. Move the blocks out the way slightly, left hand down, left knee down, left foot kickstands. Right foot steps back and floats in space, coming into floating side plank variation. Right hand to the sky. Kick your right heel away, move the shoulders back and down away from ears. So engage your upper back now. You probably have more space to do that. Probably feel like the muscles can move around now. There's a little less tension, there's more space to move. Bend the right knee if that feels good. Catch the foot in the hand, kick the foot back. Make this about the shoulders and the thigh. Right shoulder, right thigh. How can you stretch and elevate through that space even more? Deep breath in. Long exhale. Releasing the right foot. Spin so the hands come down. Keep the right foot in space. Spin the left foot back. And then bring the right knee forwards, pigeon pose. Slide the right heel in front of the left hip. Wriggle your left foot back. Hands come wide and off the mat. Fingertips only to the floor as you inhale, elevate chest. Exhale, float and fold body down. Inhale, rise up, oscillating cobra variation in pigeon. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Rolling through the spine this way, making it about the shoulders first. They move first. Everything else follows. Come up to the top. Roll onto your right hip and turn to face the long edge of your mat, extending out to the left leg. Left hand to right toes or ankle. Right arm up and over. Big side body stretch here. Try and relax the shoulders as you reach the right fingertips over, as if the right hand is trying to grab a hold of those left toes. Breathe into the lower back on the right hand side. Feel the space through the waist. Another deep breath in. Another long exhalation. And then inhale, slowly come up. Walk the hands to the top of the mat. Turn onto the ball of your left foot. Step back plank. Chaturanga. Back bend. Downward facing dog. Hips up, hips back. Pedal out the heels, just feel the heaviness there. The heels towards the floor, the body. Breathing just a little deeper here. A little more in, a little more out. As you breathe a little more, left leg's going to come up to the sky. Take a deep breath in, bend the knee, roll the hip open. Feel the stretch through the left hand side. Deepen inhale, deepen exhale. Option, drop it into wild thing. Feel the stretch, feel the opening. Low lunge from here. Think about the shoulders as you even transition. Left foot between the hands. Rising up, we're finding that space again, shoulders first. So clasp the hands. Maybe you interlace them behind you. Maybe the hands just reach up. They don't need to be together. I like the feeling, how firm it feels when I have my hands laced together. I feel like I've got more ability to lengthen. And so as my shoulders move up, my armpits turn forwards. I'm thinking then about letting my ears track where the upper arms are. The chin to the sky, deepening the breath. And then my hips naturally can sink to the floor without having to bend from my lower back. Half Hanuman, yogi's choice where you go. If you want to clasp the hands, clasp the hands. If you're happy to bring the hands to the floor, still feeling space in shoulders, go there. Heel down, toes up, breathe. Feel the oxygen as it floods the body. A bit more space. Slowly bend the left knee, turn the toes out, heel in, hands to the inside of the foot, back knee stays down. Inhale, spin the left hand to the sky as you open up. Left elbow is going to draw a line, imaginary line down the inside of your left leg, all the way to the heel, or as close to as you can. Left arm to the sky, inhale. Left elbow to the heel, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more as you inhale. Reach the hand all the way up, back behind you. Maybe searching for the foot. Yeah, think about the shoulder rolling back first. And even when the foot and hand are connected, you're trying to open the shoulder first. And releasing the foot back down if you've got it. Blocks can come underneath the hands. So you pick up the back knee, straighten out the legs. Pyramid pose, hands to blocks. Roll right hip forwards and down. Left hip back. Deepen the inhale, deepen the exhale. Those left toes if that feels good, or keep them down. And take the blocks with you or keep them where they are. Moving to the right leg, Skandasana. Right elbow to inside of right knee. Left hand with the sky, spin open. Maybe take a bind, half bind, full bind. Whatever bind feels good here. Maybe it's just opening the shoulder, opening the body here. And slowly bring the hands back down. Walk all the way round to the inside of the left foot once again. Lower the right knee. Kickstand the right foot over to the right. Send the left leg back in space for floating side plank variation. Left hand to the sky, right hand roots to the floor. Heel pushes away, be active through that left heel so it's not just kind of hanging out in space, it's actively pressing away, creating better scaffolding for your body to hold here. Then bend your left knee, catch your left foot, the top of the foot with the hand, kick the foot back, feeling the stretch, left thigh, left shoulder. Left thigh, left shoulder. Nice. And slowly from here, release the left foot back in space, but keep it floating. Left hand down to the top of the mat, spin on the right knee to take the foot back into position. Left knee curls forward behind left wrist. We gently hook it forwards into our pigeon pose, wriggling the right foot back, hands wide. Inhale, elevate chest. Exhale, float and fold. Inhale, elevate chest. Exhale, float and fold. Inhale. Exhale. As you inhale, unravel, come up. Hip to the left sit bone. Flip to face the long edge of the mat. Right hand hooks around left ankle. Left arm reaches up and over towards the flexed right toes. You're not necessarily trying to grab the toes, although that might be in your mind as a goal endpoint to grab hold of, just so that the arm keeps extending, keeps stretching. Feel how the left rib cage like unpicks itself from its tightening here. Come up through the center. You're going to start to walk the hands to the top edge of the mat. Turn on the ball of the back foot. Step back, plank, chaturanga. Back bend. Down dog. Pincha Mayurasana or headstand or dolphin here. Okay, so we're working on the strength underneath that real excavation and mobility work that we've done. So being mindful of everything that we've done as well. So working in the same headspace that we've been in, trying to think about space in the shoulders, not just about activation and not just about flexibility, but actual space and room. So for example, in pincha, if you're going to bring the hands to a block, for example, elbows pushed down, and it really feels like there's loads of length through the neck. So there'll be freedom in the head. If you're headstanding, it really means that hands are laced together, elbows are really pushing. There's like barely any of your weight going through your head. Think about the strength and the space. Think about the stability and move with that. So don't just think about it. Be with it in action, in play. So notice just how much the shoulders do in these poses. How much openness brings a sense of space, a sense of awareness. And straight away, you might need to just take you might not straight away come into it, you might need to take a moment. I was about to say take a nap. I mean, you might want to take a nap, but I feel like not quite yet. Okay, so you might just take a break and sit back on the heels and just feel into the stretch of the neck. So everything we're doing here is with full awareness of the shoulders, the neck, the upper back, every part that you felt your weight into, even the waist. You can have quite a profound experience of inversions this way when you've had such a focus point. Nice. Being in that specific area. One more time, I'm just going to talk you through headstand, just so anyone watching the recording, and you too, if you want to do it now as well. You don't have to though, you can go to the point that you want to. Set up your headstand so that your elbows can be held by the tips of your fingers. And then release your hands, but keep the elbows the same. Maybe you even bring your elbows in slightly. Just a little bit. This is so that if and when the elbows naturally splay out to the side when you start to put weight through the arms, actually they don't go out quite as far and you have a much stronger, more confined space to work with. We're lacing the hands together. We're creating that support for the back of the head, top of the head to the floor, and pushing down through the arms so that there's barely any weight through the head. And on the knees here, you can just practice that pushing down, head taps, pushing down so head comes away, head taps. You might have loads of space. You might not have that much space. If you're new to this movement, there might not be loads of room. It's possible for everyone to manipulate the scapula and the fascia around, but it depends on how much we practice doing that. And then from here, push down through the elbows, lift the knees. Try and keep the head away from the floor as much as you can. As you lift one foot, you're going to try and tip into your headstand. As much as possible, trying to keep the head free of the ground, or at least very, very little pressure. Okay, so we're trying to almost like find a pincher, but in our heads down position. So just then it was very wobbly for me because my head was pushing back into the thumb joints. Yeah, that's kind of where my head and weight is going, that way, rather than down on top of my head. The top of my head was completely free of the earth. So have a play around if you want to do that again, or if you want to rest and come back to child's pose. Do what feels good. And for those that might be headstanding on the recording, you can make your way down when you're ready. We're going to come into rabbit pose, an ultimate pose here. So kneeling, top of head to floor. If you've got a ponytail in, hairs up, take it out. Okay, come and sit back to the heels and snuggle your head as close to the knees as you can. You try and get the top of your head towards the floor. My hands are going to stay next to my knees or kind of just in front of my knees the whole time. The reason for this is because I want to have my hands there for support. I find it's quite a lot on my neck if I just let my weight move forwards. And then lift your bum away from your heels. What you're aiming for is rolling onto the back of the head. Feeling the stretch down each side of the spine. Trying to lift your bum away from your heels and then hold there and breathe. Eyes can be closed, hands are supported, eyes can be open. Another option is to hold your heels so your feet are apart and you can have your hands actually holding your heels. So if you feel like you have the stability for it, you can go there. Really gently release from the pose, back into child's pose for a moment. Just let the forehead rest, let the arms either rest by your side or stretch them out in front of you, depending on what feels most supportive. And then gently slide onto your belly. Stack your hands underneath your forehead. Rest your front body down on the earth. Feel the belly pressing into the ground as you inhale and as you exhale. So feel the breath expand and soften, expand and soften. You're trying to deliberately put the pressure through the diaphragm here so that the resistance of the floor beneath you creates a little bit of strengthening pressure. And feeling into the body for 3 more breaths. Real big belly breaths. So feel the expansion, feel the softening. And gently from here, on your 3rd breath, rolling over, finding your way onto your back, finding your way into Shavasana, allowing your body to stretch out, to take up space, to use props, support here that will help to keep you supported and relaxed at the same time. And if you want to use a bolster under the back of the knees, then do. If there's other props you want to bring in, then do. You can even cover the eyes lightly with something, so you can have that feeling of really being cocooned, even though I know the daylight is on. Daylight switched on. And just allow yourself to completely relax when you're ready. There's nothing else required or expected of you here, other than just to be. And just allow the breath to slow, the body to soften, each part of you to let go of any extra holding. The next time you hear my voice, I'll be bringing you back from this space. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. Allow the breath to come out through the mouth. Wriggling the fingers, the toes, letting the arms stretch above the head.
Is that how I'm going to do it? Like this?
And squeeze the knees in towards the chest, taking a nice little rock side to side, left to right. Coming all the way up to seated when you're ready. And bringing the hands together in prayer. Eyes can be closed. We'll take the thumbs to the third eye. And we'll seal our practice together this morning with a bow of love, honor, and of respect. Remembering that we are all connected. We are one. Namaste. Thank you.